which makes it very easy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna ask, are you putting in keywords or what is it that you're tagging it with?
We're just putting in keywords, like for bird. Right now, we have probably 5,000 bird pictures. And, it's just, ridiculous. So we're going through and saying, okay, this one is missing the beak. This is missing the tail. This one is blurry. Get rid of all that stuff. So right now it's just, we're sorting through just a ton of pictures.
Can you put more than one keyword in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put like Colorado or Arizona, bird, bobcat, whatever it is. And then for people, we had a whole lot of people pictures from, way back when. And it's like, man, I better get these things labeled, because at some point in time, if somebody ever wants to look at this, they're not going to have any idea who these people are.
What
You know
usually
how that goes. So we've been doing a lot of tagging of pictures.
So are you scanning these pictures if they're that old? Are you scanning them in, or what? How are you getting them digital?
No, we just, right now, the current pictures, we've just, downloaded them into the computer. But our old pictures, you scanned all those in, didn't you?
Some of them, not all of them yet.
Yeah, we still have probably 15 years of pictures that we haven't scanned in. And we have probably a good 5 to 8 years of pictures on slides that we need to do. I had thought that I'd be able to do that at the camera club, but that's not working out. So, like we have, when our kids were real little, that's all the pictures that we have are on slides, because that was the era at the time. But I'm very grateful that we're not having to put pictures on, to have to buy film and get stuff, bring it to the drugstore, get it processed. And I'm like, that'd be ridiculous, because we go someplace and we'll take 300 pictures. It's just so different.
At all?
Yeah.
I remember my first trip to China. I probably had 40 rolls in about 2 or 3 different lead bags.
Oh my gosh.
And trying to get those around the scanners in the airport. Some of them, almost all of them would take the bags around the scanner, but there were a couple of them that wouldn't, and they just had to go through.
I'm so glad we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Does anybody know if the computer club is open? Because they have a way to convert slides to digital.
I don't think it's open yet.
So what's the word down in Green Valley? What is the, I don't read the news that much.
It seems like I read the newsletter, but I didn't retain it because it was still kind of pretty much the same. We've got a lot of great stuff going on with Zoom, but we can certainly look that up. But there didn't seem to be anything about reopening yet. Does anybody else heard any differently?
I don't think they're reopened yet. I think they're still in limbo in terms of whatever they're deciding they're wanting to do or when. So that's the last I've heard of anything.
And that's a GVR decision, isn't it?
Right.
GVR is starting to open some more stuff up. They actually were not required to have masks at the swimming pool anymore. As long as we keep safe distancing, and we could actually sit on the lawn chairs or the poolside chairs.
For more than an hour.
Yeah. But let's see, I wanted to greet Jerry. Hi, Jerry, and Sue, welcome.
Hi,
and then,
thank you.
Birdstone, I don't know who Birdstone is, but welcome. We do have a couple videos that I know of, and so who all has a video for us today? I've got Kevin down and I've got Barb. I appreciate that when you guys email me in advance. That's really fun. Thanks. Anyone else have a video for us today? Okay, well, I know we've got lots of people working on it. Can't hear you. What is your name, Birdstone?
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Oh, yes. My name's Larry Fugelston,
Hi,
and I go
Larry.
by Birdstone. That Fugelston is Norwegian. Birdstone's the English translation of it.
That's really fun. One of the discussions that we were having as people were coming in is discussing file organization, labeling photos, tagging. I was thinking it might be interesting to hear different ones of us share a little bit on how we organize our photos and prepare, get things ready to create a multimedia project. So I was wondering if someone would like to share some of what they do.
I'll share.
Thank
I'm an Apple user, and so in our Photos app, we have that capability of keywords, as Grace was talking about, and you can put as many subjects as you want to. It's quite a process to do that. I'm still working on it through my photos too, but I've learned now when I get my photos on my computer, I go ahead and take the time and label them in keywords, and then I can just search for that. And in some of the topic earlier, I know Sarah and I have had this conversation before about all these pictures we're taking and what's going to happen to them. With our parents, of course, there were physical photos and stuff that we had and still have and can download on our computer, scan and stuff. But in our conversation, Sarah and mine, we said, how much are our kids or family members going to want to sort through on a computer or know our system in finding keywords if they don't use, the kinds of programs that we're using in multimedia here, that you just wonder how much is going to be lost. And I'm thinking that maybe for me, finding the top photos maybe of a family member and stuff, because I do label them separately. Each child has its own keyword too, or the sisters have a category, and so maybe download those on a flash drive at some point, probably sooner than later, and keep adding those to that, where pictures I think are important to keep on a family tradition type of thing to have, can be passed on, rather than to expect my kids won't get into my computer and start looking at all these 40,000 photos I have sitting out there. And so any other suggestions would be welcomed, but I think the labeling is for myself, basically. And finding things for movies or to show people or whatever. But then to carry on the tradition like we've had in the past of having photos that we treasure and wanting to keep. I know Grace uses books, and so that's one solution too. But I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
That's what I do, but
Yeah.
I haven't completed the project. It's a huge project to get them organized and labeled.
But I don't do any books with family or anything. It's just travel things.
Okay, for your personal.
Yeah.
I'll just throw in some comments if I may there, Sherry. I never believed in the organization of Photoshop elements. Never used it, never wanted to get into it. And I can see the advantage of it when you're looking for something in your whole pile of photos. And the same thing, of course, applies to video clips. But I'll share my screen with you and show you the system I use. I start off with a breakdown of it, and then the advantage of that is when I bring these stills or video clips into my editor, they're all organized by the file name. So everything on a specific state park is all together in the, in that. So if you're bringing them in using your tags, I don't think that that will help you bring them all together once you're into your editor. Let me see if I can bring up something here and I'll show you.
You
Sherry-
just muted. Can you unmute?
Sherry, did you give him privileges to share
Oh.
screen?
Yeah, I usually do that first thing. Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, let me see if I can, here it is. Is that the one? No. Wrong one, sorry. Up. Oh, Fred. Okay, this is file name organization.
It's the organization of trying to find the organization.
Here it is here, yeah, well, there it is. Come on up, there we go. Does that show on your screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so in this case, this is what I'm working on currently. These are some things from the Four Corners region and a whole lot of visits there from, as you can see, 84 to 2007. And I'm basically working on one I'm got tentatively titled as Mysteries of the Ancestral Puebloans. So I can organize it with a year in it, a state, followed by national parks and specific locations. So a specific one would be, let me just run this down here. So I want to show the Betatican ruins. So I can put the year that I was there, which was say 2004. And it's in, Betatican ruins is in Utah. And, whoops, sorry. So I use a capital U. And then Betatican ruins is BK. So the event, that's my file name that I give to that. And if I've got something else I want to expand on, traveling down to it, a specific site on the ruins or something, I could add that in later on. But that means with the first, in this case, 4 alphanumerics, they will all be together in a file organization, both in your editor and also in anything you have on the computer that's keeping all these things together. So
Do you
it's
then,
something that sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you then leave the image number as
No,
is?
No, the problem with that then is you have to have a separate conversion, not conversion, but separate list showing the name you used originally and what you've got
Okay.
that you're using in your editor. Anyway,
So-
that's the system that I worked into. So
Okay, so how then do you distinguish after that? Do you put numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or what? What do you
Yeah.
put?
yeah, let me. I've got one on New Zealand here. Let me see if I can bring that one up. How do we do? No, wrong one. No, I can't. I don't know how to bring it up here. I've got a whole bunch of things all together. So on different on bits on the screen. I've only ever showed a video on it before. I've never tried to get all the way through with this thing. What happens with this one?
And this is what you're naming them. You're actually using the Photoshop editor? Is that
No. Oh, no, I'm using the video editor.
video?
Yeah, I'm putting it both in the Windows file folder, or the Windows, what do you call it? Yeah, just the Windows files. And then the same thing can be used automatically when you transfer it across into your video editor.
So Larry, have you been using this process for years? So like if you have something from 1995, is it are all those photos already labeled somehow like that?
Depends how far back I go.
Okay.
This is a system that developed because I was going back a number of years ago into earlier videos that I'd made, and I couldn't find stuff, and it was driving me crazy. Particularly, I would get into when I would bring up the video editor itself, and it wants to know where a specific video clip or file is, and it would take forever to go through the information that I had. You know, it was all together in a single folder, but I had to tell the editor once more where it was when I brought it up. So it was from several very frustrating efforts that I finally wound up with this.
With your newer photos, are you able just with, let's say you haven't labeled last week's, but are you able to go in and search for Utah, and it would bring up, let's say, last week's Utah pictures and then 5 years ago by
No.
location? You don't, your
No,
software program.
No, I don't. No, this is just the Windows Explorer,
Okay.
basically. You know, that it's all kept in.
If in the Photos app for Apple, if we have our locator on, when we take photos, then we can locate any photos taken in Arizona, or more specifically Tucson or something, and without my having put a keyword in there that this is a photo from Tucson. So
Yeah.
you're saying that your software program doesn't pick up the
No,
location automatically?
No, it's
Oh.
just the File Explorer.
Yeah, well, that's a feature of the camera, having had GPS turned on.
So, okay, but we can locate it in the Photos app, right? I mean,
Yes, if the camera captured that location
location.
information, then it will be there.
Okay.
But if I went out and took pictures with my 5D Mark III and put those in as whatever, it would have no GPS information, so it couldn't do that
okay,
automatically.
right.
Thank you, Larry. That's really awesome. Does anyone else have ways that they're filing and accessing their pictures to share?
I've got one, but it's very simple compared to Larry's. I would agree with Lynn and Ken that keywording is a complete pain in the ass, and it just takes so much time. It's just, oh my God, to go through all these photos is tough. Basically, about the only thing that I do when it comes to, I do a couple things. I'll just show you quickly. Let's see here. This is the way that I'm keeping all these photos in basically by category. I'll put a date as in a year and a month, and then the location. And this is a general storage of imagery. So if I wanted pictures from New Mexico, let's say, I just scroll down and I go, okay, boom, here's all the New Mexico images. And I can go through and find whatever I want to find. Now, this is kind of a general thing. Now, the other thing so that's just for photos, but then if I want to do like one of my slideshows, I think this is it. Yeah. So I'll have a folder, and I just create a folder for that project. So as an example, this was one I did on the senior games from last year. So within that, I've got my photos, and I'll have a photo folder. I'll have a music folder. I've got my Final Cut program. So if I click on that, then that opens up Final Cut, and then all the project opens up, and away we go. And so anyway, I try to make it really simple in that regard. So I'll have all my content in one folder, and then I don't have to sit there and look all around, the computer to find that stuff. So it's a lot simpler than what Larry's doing or what Ken and Lynn are doing in terms of keywording. So it's just, I just think there's so much time that's spent doing those things. It's really tough.
I
That's
do
kind of what I do is by topic. I have folders within my pictures on my computer.
And I do similar to what Kevin does is if I offload them into a folder, often by year, and then location, and then the edited ones. I always keep all of my pictures. I am not very good at disposing of bad ones. But once I go through and edit and export, I'll put a folder that says edited. That would be ones that I would use, and they would go back in the same folder under edited.
You know, ultimately, I think it just comes down to whatever system works best for you in terms of how you like to organize, how your brain works. Like with what Larry's doing, he's very analytical, you can tell. And so that system for him works great. And for somebody like me, I'm not analytical, and I just, it's more complicated than I could ever try to make it. So I just think whatever you do, if it's working, great. You're happy with the way you're organizing stuff. If not, try a system like Larry's and see if that works better for you.
And I think some of the rest of you do use Lightroom. And if I'm doing a major trip or a major shoot of something, I do put them in Lightroom. And when I am going to use them and export them out, I do a renaming file. I do rename them. And so there'll be something at the beginning of the file name indicative of what either the year it was shot or the location it was shot or something like that, so that they will all go together.
This is great. Thank you, guys. Is there any more comments on that before we start watching a video? Awesome. Barb, you ready to jump in and share your video with us?
Sure. Just a little intro on this video. In addition to this multimedia group that I've probably been a member of for 4 years, a couple years ago, I decided to visit the black and white SIG here. And it kind of opened up my eye to a different look in my pictures. And so the video I've done today is a combination of the two SIGs that I participated in. Okay, let me see. Share screen.
Probably want to.
Is it there?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay.
Great job.
Wow.
Couldn't wait to see each picture and what colors it was going to evolve into.
Great, great
What a
job.
neat idea.
I loved that. That was beautiful.
And the music, I love the music that
Mm.
just went with it. And I think you attempted to put them on the beat.
Not intentionally. I guess it worked that way.
Well, it was hard music to kind of do that with the resolves, as long as you had the black dissolve, I mean, but yeah, it was very enjoyable.
It was really nice. You know, the thing that was nice, and I would agree with everybody about the music was great. And also just that anticipation of seeing the photo in black and white. And then, like Sherry said, it's like you're waiting for it to turn into color. Okay, what's the color going to be? I thought that was a great way to present it. So well done.
Thank you. I debated about putting color first and going to black and white, but as I played with it, I thought it was more effective the other way. I've really picked up some tips about black and white photos and things that don't work at all in my photographs that you think, oh, well, I'll just switch to black and white, and it doesn't do a thing to a photo. So it's been a learning process for me to participate in that group, but it's been fun to kind of incorporate that now in a movie and actually see the difference in that. And I had talked to Kevin this past week, and I appreciate his help in talking to me about the transitions. And I wasn't sure how that was going to play out in Zoom, because I know we've had issues with those transitions that we sometimes put between the pictures. And it was important that they fade into the right way. And I have a couple of options. One is Grace, you might remember, blurry or something, goes to blurry or something. And I tried that, and that wasn't the look.
No.
And this one that I've used, you know, is a really slow movement and stuff of transitioning, right?
Was
from-
that just a regular dissolve between the two?
I think it was. And
Yeah.
then I used the fade to black.
Fade to black,
between them. Now, was that choppy on Zoom? Because I know
No.
many of us have had that issue in showing it.
It was
No.
beautiful.
It was smooth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, yes, it was almost important to totally get rid of the picture before in order to go to the next one. So the fade to black worked
Okay.
worked well, I thought.
Came through okay. Yes.
What software were you using? I mean, how did you get it to transition from black to color in motion?
Of course, I have Apple products, and there is one of the transitions that you can use. You know, some people use a box that spins, or, you know, I don't know how many we have, maybe 20 options. So that is one of the options that I have, and it may be called dissolve. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just dissolve. Yeah.
Dissolve.
Yeah.
So that
And
one's
you-
dissolve.
And you can set the amount of time it takes to go from one to the other. I think its default is 1 second.
It is 1 second. These were then changed to 2. Put it in
But
there.
is that how it went from black and white to color?
It is. And
Is through using dissolve? So did you have a black and white picture and a color picture?
yeah, it's a neat, it's a neat effect. I've not really used it, but in one other movie, I did, I don't know if you remember, Palette of Color movie that I did a couple years ago, where I had a paint palette, and I wanted to take it from black to the colors and then feature a certain color in that section. And that's when I first discovered what it does. But this one I really wanted to be real subtle. I didn't want it. I tried the blur transition, and I did not like that. I wanted this to be a real subtle transition to the color.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's the reason why stretching out the dissolve to 2 seconds made that
Yes.
transition slow and
Yeah. it does.
So you did the black and white, and then you had the color picture, and you dissolved 2 seconds between them to have it turn to that color, and then you did a fade to black,
And
And
fade
then-
to black.
and then went into the next one.
Yes, so my fade to black was 2 seconds also.
So cool.
Yeah, so I had, our titling leaves something to be desired in iMovie options that we have. But Grace taught me how to not correct, but improve upon that through doing a screenshot of a background color I want to use, and then going and taking a screenshot of that, and then I have tools then that can make a title and stuff. Because on that first title, splash of color, I first had it all in one color, and I thought, well, no, I'll use each letter in the word color. And in my program, I can't do that. I couldn't see how I could change one letter in a word, Grace. So
Yeah.
I played with that, and then finally did the screenshot and was able to use the tools to get each letter of the word color a different color. So that's been a helpful
Yeah.
tool for me to kind of change the look of a titling for parts
Yeah.
of the movie.
You can go out to, PowerPoint or any kind of a program like that where you can get titles, where you can put in other fonts and so forth, and just create it the way you want, then do a screenshot of it and put that in. It's a PNG then, and then just put that in as an image wherever you want. So yeah, it's a workaround because the titling in iMovie is very limited. And that's a way to get something more custom made, let's put it that way.
Any suggestions on the length?
No.
Too long? Too
No,
long?
how long was it? I got
Okay.
lost in it.
Yeah, great.
And the music faded out perfectly, so I don't know how you planned that, or was that
That
the
was-
length of the shot of the clip?
It was. I
Okay.
went looking for a long song, and that one fades out automatically. So I didn't do anything with the music this time.
Wow. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any more questions or comments for Barb? Then Kevin, can we go on to yours?
Sure. I've got a little thing. This will be of interest to Pat with the stuff he's been sharing of the drone that he's been doing. And this is something that I did a few years ago before I moved here to Green Valley in Central Illinois. There's a pool company. They install swimming pools called San Juan Pools. And it's a franchise, so it's not just a thing that's native to Central Illinois. And so anyway, the long story short of this, I've been shooting still photography for San Juan for probably 20 years or so. And the way that we used to do it is we would take a big 12-foot ladder, and I'd get up on top of the ladder and I'd shoot still photography of these pools. And for the time being, that was fine. It worked out. It was what it was. You really couldn't do anything else. Well, then when we started having drones, I was then able to go in and shoot photography and video of these pools with the drone. And so this has worked out unbelievably great. Now, the thing that you'll see in this video is these are some examples of some of the work that's being done. This pool company, San Juan, out of Central Illinois, is installing the pools, and they're also doing some of the groundwork that needs to be done. But then they also go in with a landscaping company, and they come in and do landscaping. So really everything that you see in these videos, like if there's some stone and everything, that's all been added. Nothing is there naturally. So anyway, this is a little video. It'll hopefully give Pat some ideas when he's doing his stuff. Okay, there you go.
Wow.
Wow.
That was great, Kevin.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. I
Very
like,
good, yeah.
I like the angles and all that you used, you know, with sometimes with the fencing and the angle with the drone was flying and the movement of your videos and stuff. Very well done.
Well, thanks. Well, you know, part of the, you know, like on a lot of this that we were doing stuff, we were going in and you're shooting a bunch of other videos. So really what I tried to do in this video for them was just condense it down to a couple shots for each location. So again, you don't want it to drag on too long and people get bored. So yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Mhm.
So they use this as a promotional video.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, we- Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, the thing that's nice is what we did, they will, for each of the homes that we did a separate video for each of those locations that they could use, and then also coordinated with the landscaper and used their, instead of having the San Juan logos, had their logos at the front and the back end along with their contact information. So for each one, we tried to make it each property there's a video. So I mean, altogether there's probably about, oh gosh, 15 or 20 homes that we did. So that was a lot of work to, not horrible, but to change out those logos.
So did you do before and after shots? I mean, you said that there was nothing there when you started. Did you?
No.
You did.
Yeah, we didn't. No, it you know, the thing that takes a lot of time is we're going all around central Illinois. So literally we might have traveled, their radius probably is about 75 or 100 miles that they're doing these different locations. So in Peoria area or Bloomington, Illinois area, and then other surrounding little smaller towns and stuff. And so anyway, yeah, there, unfortunately, it would be great to do a thing where you would go around and shoot all this stuff before they would start doing these projects. But usually they are so busy. And I think part of it too is they don't know how the project's going to work out. They have a general idea and they think some of these are going to work good. Obviously, you see some of these houses are incredibly nice. And so they're not just installing a pool, it's the whole landscaping and it's the thing. I mean, that last house, I don't know, I think they spent $300,000 on their pool, that whole back area that they did. So usually a lot of these locations, they're probably spending $100,000, $200,000, really making it quite a place to be for the family and the kids and stuff. The other thing that is interesting, that just as a sidebar, is that they would go in and they would do one at let's say it's a brand new neighborhood, and they would start building it and stuff. Well, all at once the neighbor would see it. Well, then they want it. Now they go in. And so at the beginning, if I show you that, just that quick a second at the beginning here, this neighborhood right here, hang on. They did
One,
three
two, three,
pools.
four.
They did 3 pools, and then after I moved, they've done a 4th in that neighborhood. So it's amazing how they, you know, it's like that word of mouth thing. And oh, gee, Bob did it. Well, honey, we've got to do it. We've got to make a nice pool, and we've got to make it better than his. So anyway, it really is interesting, and the work is beautiful.
Wow,
Really is.
very beautiful. I loved how smooth everything was. Well, it was going. I couldn't distinguish still shots from.
Well, there was no still
No.
photography. That was all
Okay.
video with the
That was all
drone.
video. Okay.
Wow.
But I think it's for Pat. Just get out and practice, Pat. And the other thing you'll notice is most of the time I'm flying straight ahead or I'm going side to side. And
Yeah, I
so
noticed that.
you don't have that issue. When you get a little better, then you can do those turns where you're coming around something. But that just takes a little practice. But you know, get out and practice a little bit and fly around. And I think you're headed down the right path with your videos, and just a little practice and away you go.
Okay. How many times did you have to shoot a given shot? Or was it, right out of the can right away?
Really, it's just a matter of when I'm doing something like that, let's say there might be 10, 12 different angles that you're trying to get of a home. You're trying to get some wider shots, something a little closer, different angles, different perspectives. And usually the toughest thing was some of those at the end where you saw where I'm kind of flying really low, just a few feet off the ground.
Yeah.
And that might take a couple of times, especially when you start trying to avoid objects like chairs, deck chairs, and some of those other things.
Or going into the pool.
Yes. Well, here's the other good one, Sarah. And I learned this one out of the box. Luckily, I did not crash the drone, but what happens is less than 30 feet, the drone uses optical sensors. There's 2 optical sensors that measure the distance from the ground. Well, when you get over the pool, the drone does not see the water. So it thinks that if I'm flying, let's say I'm flying at 5 feet. Well, all at once it sees that, oh, it's 11 feet now because it's 6 feet down to the bottom of the pool. So the trick that I learned is when I got to the edge of the pool, I would then throttle up. So I would I'm telling the drone, okay, ignore the fact that we're not flying level. So anyway, that was thank God I didn't crash in the pool because that would have been the end of the drone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So does your drone have the controller has a video monitor on it so you can actually see what's being shot?
Yeah, for mine, I've got an iPad mini, and with these the newer software that the drone's running, I'm on version 4 of the drone I use. In version 2, the heads-up display wasn't as complicated. There wasn't as much information, so you could fly on a phone. But now with all of the information that is available to you as the pilot, having that bigger display really helps. And so if you get the shot or not. If if the move is smooth and you're doing a good job, then it right away. And it's like, okay, boom, go on to the next shot. So it makes it a lot easier to fly, especially when you're going to fly tight in areas. If you're flying way up high, 200 feet off the ground, you're not going to hit anything. Who cares?
You go out with a shot list of basically it's probably in your head by now as to what all you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, really, in a sense, Grace, there is, but really it's when you get to the location, you have to determine, okay, what are the obstacles? So there's trees, what's going on, and you just kind of fly around and do a bunch of different stuff. And I call it, I've got a phrase for it, and I do this for still photography or video. I call it milking the cow. Well, when the cow's done, it's done. You milk the cow, okay, on to the next location, and away you go. So you kind of know, okay, we've got all we need to get here. And I'd say maybe we spend 20 minutes to a half hour at a location, and we've got all the shots we need. It's pretty quick. But it's a lot of fun to do it too. And especially when you get places that really, like I said, these homes are beautiful, and the work that's been done, the landscaping and all of that. And, you see all the umbrellas and the deck chairs. I mean, you figure you spend all this money, spend a little more and really make it nice. So it makes me look good as a photographer when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so fun.
I have a little bit to learn.
You know what, Pat? It just takes time. A little practice, and I've been flying a drone for probably 6 years now, so I've gotten better as time gone on, and I've crashed, and it happens, and you just keep working at it, and away you go. But you'll get there. Just get out and practice. You'll do good.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Let's see. I wanted to share, let's see. So Jean sent me the email list so that I could email out directly the notes. So that was a new development this last week. As far as the getting onto the YouTube, he has me recording in the cloud, and then at some point he'll take it from the cloud and put it on YouTube. So I don't know when or how that actually happens, but that's what's in place at the moment. And Grace mentioned looking for some inspiration when we started out this morning. So I thought we could take a couple minutes maybe. And I know that a while back we had a bunch of ideas presented, but I thought, we might have some ideas now to throw out for some inspiration for some upcoming videos.
I'd say, how's the weather in Portland, Grace?
Well, it started off 30 degrees and foggy. Then it cleared off to blue, and now the clouds are coming back in, but it's supposed to hit 60. But it rained yesterday and it'll probably rain tomorrow. So it's Oregon. What can I say?
Is there anything outside that you can go shoot that inspires you?
Yeah, I'm living on a senior residence area that's 40 acres. Plus next door is what used to be a university, Marylhurst University. And so it will get to be more beautiful. The landscaping is phenomenal. There just isn't that much in bloom yet, but you can tell by the plants that they've got planted that it's going to be gorgeous. And so, yeah, I do some walks and I just need to get inspired to actually do a little more. I've taken some pictures, but.
How about doing a project where you do a video / slideshow, whatever, for the subdivision, your complex, and then maybe that's something that the HOA could use as a sales thing, a sales tool for selling homes. I mean, I could see you doing a great thing with all. It sounds like with the landscaping's beautiful. You could have a lot of fun with that.
Well, yes, it is, and it's basically forest. But this is a senior residence community, so they've built the buildings in amongst the trees and stuff, and there's a whole area of individual homes that are also have been here for quite a while. They would be similar to the cottages at La Posada, probably. Yeah, I could take my gimbal out for a spin. Yeah. I need to take it with me when I go out for a walk and be more specific. I will put together something.
Hey, you never know. You might be able to put something together nice. You could sell it to them.
Oh, no, you know what? I joined the photography club here. These guys are serious. I mean, they're shooting in RAW, and I gave them a picture to try edit. I mean, my golly, what they did with that picture was unbelievable. But nobody that I've talked to is into video yet, but maybe I can inspire somebody to do that. Yeah.
I was in before moving to Green Valley, I was participating in a camera thing from, I forget the name of the organization, but the guy did a weekly assignment who was heading it up. And one week he assigned us to do fire hydrants. and go, and take a lot of pictures of fire hydrants. And I'm into Pokemon, so I actually did pictures of Pokemon sitting on fire hydrants or going, dancing around the base of it or something like that. That was pretty fun.
Sounds like a video.
Yeah, I should look back on the pictures that I have for that and do something with it. That would be amusing.
That's fun.
Grace, have you, whoops.
Go ahead.
Oh, Grace, have you ever been on Pinterest? You
No.
know about Pinterest?
I've heard of it, but I haven't been on. No.
Okay, well, anyway, they have lots of ideas for inspiration on photography of all sorts of things. It might be a sentence and you complete the sentence with your pictures, or there's topics. It really is kind of a nice little inspiration point. So
How do you spell Pinterest?
Pinterest. So interest with the P on the front of it.
Pinterest.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll have to Google search them. Topics and
Sure.
inspirations, huh?
Sure.
Along
you.
Carrie's line of getting a topic, sometimes if you look through some of your photos, old ones and stuff, if you can just pick one theme, a
Yeah.
theme instead of a trip or something like that, just like the fire hydrant idea, that's cute. Or Sarah did one a year ago, maybe on cactus, different cactus, and they were hugging or whatever.
Yeah.
And so if you can just think of something that you might have in your photos, when we were talking about labeling, I do label mine beyond just the people in it or where it was and that type of thing, because I like topics for some of my movies. So maybe you could think of some theme around there that you could just focus that particular film that you want to make on just a subject.
Yeah. And that's where I
know,
come up short, but thanks for the idea. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's 11 o'clock and I actually need to sign off. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll look forward to next week. Are there any final comments before I actually end the session?
Thank you.
Good session.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Sherry, thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.